Become a Triple S Training Academy approved affiliate partner, not just to sell training, but to redefine how your clients see value. In a market where everyone is offering courses, this positions you differently, not as a provider of content, but as a commercial partner helping organizations navigate the growing pressure around competence, accountability, and real workforce performance. Whether you are a training provider or a broker, working across national or international markets, this is your opportunity to step out of the commodity space, to access new sectors, deepen client relationships, and build a more resilient, scalable revenue stream based on outcomes, not just delivery. The construction industry hasn't just changed, it's quietly redefined what good looks like. Compliance, on its own, is no longer persuasive. It doesn't differentiate, and it certainly doesn't reassure clients in the way it once did. What's emerging instead is a far more human measure of performance, workforce competence in practice. That means behaviors, how people think, decide, and act when it matters. It means responsibility, accountability, and an understanding of consequences at every level of the organization. In other words, the competitive edge is no longer what you can prove on paper, but what your workforce consistently does in reality. Your clients aren't just under pressure, they're under scrutiny. Under CDM and wider industry expectations, accountability hasn't disappeared, it's intensified and been pushed deeper into the supply chain. Responsibility for competence, coordination, and safe delivery now sits across every layer of an organization, and crucially, it's expected to show up in practice, not just policy. This shift is also playing out commercially. Procurement and tender processes are no longer satisfied with statements, they're asking for evidence of workforce competence, capability, and real outcomes. The challenge is that this is happening in already complex environments, where organizations are balancing multiple responsibilities under constant delivery pressure. And without a shared understanding of what good looks like, the cracks begin to show, decisions become inconsistent, communication fragments, accountability weakens, and risk doesn't just exist, it compounds. Through in-depth research across the UK training landscape, analysing courses, delivery models, and current approaches, and through direct engagement with industry professionals, one thing became consistently clear. Not a lack of training, but a lack of alignment. There is no single, consistent way of creating shared understanding across an entire construction organization. Training happens, often well, but in isolation. And what's missing is the connection across the workforce, a shared language, a shared expectation, and a shared understanding of what good actually looks like in practice. And without that, even the best training struggles to translate into consistent behavior on site. We believe the opportunity isn't to add more training, it's to solve the problem training hasn't been able to fix. Triple S Training Academy has spent years developing and refining this, not just creating content, but building an entire ecosystem around it, a delivery model, a platform, and a system designed to work at scale. Because the real challenge isn't information, it's consistency. This is a fundamentally different approach, built to create shared understanding across whole organizations, not just individuals. It works at every level. Individuals access a dedicated learning environment that supports their development through a structured, My Learning journey. Organizations, whether companies or colleges, operate through their own portals, with full visibility and control, managing learners, tracking progress, allocating across sites, and overseeing delivery across multiple locations. All connected, all consistent, all measurable. And importantly, this isn't limited by geography. It's been built as an international platform, designed to support organizations operating across different countries, cultures, and workforce structures, while maintaining one clear, consistent standard of understanding. We've taken something complex and made it deceptively simple. One course. Not fragmented, not trade-specific, but intentionally designed to cut across the entire working environment. Because the real issue isn't what people do. It's how consistently they understand what good looks like. So instead of adding more variation, we've created alignment. A single core course, carefully adapted across every level of the workforce, from apprentices and new entrants, including ESOL learners, through to experienced professionals, all receiving the same message, delivered in a way that resonates with their level and context. It works across site, office, and every trade environment, because behavior doesn't operate in silos. It aligns with where the industry is heading: CDM principles, green skills, and emerging frameworks like BSI Flex, without becoming a compliance exercise. And this is where it becomes powerful. It brings people together across all levels of an organization to reflect, understand, and apply what good looks like in their world, not in theory, but in practice. Because when that shared understanding exists, everything changes, communication improves, accountability strengthens, and decisions become more consistent. And most importantly, people start to recognize that every action carries consequence, not just for themselves, but for their team, their project, their organization, their client, their reputation, and the wider environment. We realized early on that a course, on its own, was never going to solve a long-standing problem. Because the real challenge isn't just knowledge, it's how people interact with it. How they communicate, how they interpret expectations, and how they apply it when it actually matters. So SSS Training Academy built something beyond training. Alongside the core learning, SSS Training Academy delivers structured behavioral programs that run over time, designed to reinforce, revisit, and embed learning into the reality of the workplace. Because change doesn't happen in a day. It happens through consistency. These programs bring the workforce together, across all levels, creating space for reflection, discussion, and a shared understanding of what good looks like in practice. Not as a one-off intervention, but as an ongoing process of behavioral reinforcement. Over 12 months, this approach strengthens collaboration, clarifies expectations, and turns learning into something far more valuable: consistent action. And that's where real impact starts to show. This creates a genuine commercial opportunity for your business. Not just to strengthen what you already do, but to expand the space you operate in. Because this isn't about adding another product. It's about giving you something your clients are increasingly being expected to deliver. Which means you're not chasing demand. You're positioning yourself ahead of it. And importantly, this doesn't stop with your existing construction clients. The same challenges exist across local authorities, housing providers, the public sector, prison services, and wider workforce and transition environments, all facing similar pressures around competence, behavior, and accountability. So this gives you options. You can deepen your current relationships, or open entirely new ones. You can strengthen your existing offer, or build a new, scalable revenue stream alongside it. Either way, it gives you the flexibility to grow, not just bigger, but broader. This allows you to increase the value of the relationships you already have, without having to replace or reinvent them. Because you're not starting again. You're building on what already exists. At the same time, it gives you a natural way into new conversations, across new sectors, new organizations, and new markets. You're adding something that strengthens your current offer, while quietly opening doors to entirely new business opportunities. If this feels relevant to your business, it's worth a conversation to explore where this could create value for you, your clients, and your future growth. Send us a short email to register your interest, and we'll arrange a Teams, Zoom, or similar discussion to look at how this could work in practice. Sometimes the most valuable opportunities are the ones you explore early.